This is how we're navigating through the new housing laws out in Seattle on our new construction. Now that we're about a year into buying properties out in Seattle and doing rehabs and starting on the process of developing, we've learned a thing or two and definitely made our mistakes along the way. And on this video, I want to share a little bit about what we've gone through so that hopefully you don't have to make these issues if you ever decide to invest out in Seattle and build an ADU or a DADU or the new term middle housing. This video is for you. I talk a lot about, when it comes to investing, about your team. And your team, especially when you're investing out of state, either can make you or break you. It can go either way. And over the years, I've had both scenarios. I've had really great people doing things on the ground for me, and I've had really bad ones. And the biggest issue that we ran into out in Seattle was the first architect that we hired definitely put us into a bad situation. First and foremost, when you're interviewing people to be on your team, because that's essentially what you're doing, you are building a team around you to help you be successful on a rehab of the house to building out a DADU. You have all these quote unquote team members around you. You have your agent, you got your contractor, you got your attorney, you got your architect. Everybody needs to be working cohesively with each other. And with our first encounter with our architect, I got the vibe that really felt like I couldn't ask questions, and that if I did ask questions, they sounded like stupid questions. And so my biggest mistake on the whole process was not communicating well with her. I let her do her thing because she was the expert, so I just let things go. And then finally, I started looking into where we were on the permit process on building our DADU. And there was a message from the city that had been sitting for a month. So finally we got on track. And in the meantime, I had looked into another architect out there that came highly recommended. And I ended up having an interview with this architect. And the first thing that I noticed right away is we sent out an email, and when less than 24 hours, we had a response like, "We can meet with you tomorrow." The communication was 9-day different. And that is a really big part of anything you want to do with developing, is you want to have communication moving really quick. You don't want things to sit, because time is money, and the more things sit, the more it causes you issues down the road. And we finally got on the meeting with them. And one thing that struck me is they knew all the new housing bills. They knew everything that could be done and what couldn't be done and what is moving forward now. So they're really up to date, which, you know what that did is, with that information, it gave me so much more confidence on our other projects. So we ended up going through with our first architect. We were almost to the point of getting permits issued. And what we were gonna build was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And I ended up reaching out to my contractor and said, "Hey, you know, we got these new laws. I wonder what I could build here now. I mean, at this point, I waited so long to getting permits, might as well look into another option." So I reached out to the second architect, the one who's been just amazing from day one. And they came back with a whole different design that basically, we went from a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with no garage to a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath with a garage, bigger square footage. And just like that, I ended up making a decision to canceling the permit process when we were almost a couple weeks away from getting them issued. But I felt like this new path would be better. And there was another thing that I learned from hiring this new architect. And sometimes you have to go through the bad to get to the good. And sometimes you don't know until you have issues, and then you pivot from there and you get on a new path. And then you go, okay, these people really know what they're doing. And that's kind of the way it all kind of played out. It's never a straight line in investing or developing or doing rehabs or flipping properties. It's always going like this. You have to learn how to pivot, learn from your mistakes, and move on. I ended up hiring the new architect for that project, canceled the permit process, and I'm starting over from ground zero. That cost us $10,000 because we are going through the permit process from the beginning again. However, the value of this new build that we're going to do is going to be worth $150,000 to $200,000 more. So I think it's worth the risk to take. And it was a learning lesson. Another thing too, when you're hiring your team, is you want to understand who is helping them on the back end. The first architect that we had didn't have a team. She had to do the emails, she had to work every part of that. And if somebody's getting really busy, it's hard to kind of manage everything. Where the second architect has a full team. They have somebody that's forward-facing, that deals with the clients. If you send an email, they respond back, they get on Zoom. For me, really what it all did is it just gave me a ton of confidence. It made me understand what I'm doing better. And it also gave me more confidence on when I'm looking at properties, first kind of initially get an idea and figure out what I think I can do, and then immediately go to them and tell them, hey, here's the situation, this is what I'm thinking I want to do, and I can make a decision on if I'm going to move forward on a property quicker. That is a key, especially when you're looking at properties that other investors are looking at. The faster you can get to the point of making an offer, the better you're going to do, the more chances are you're going to get into a property that, you know, is going to work good for you as far as a development is concerned. So having them on my side gave me just a ton of confidence. So I'm still new at this. This is the very beginning. I could talk for hours on everything that I've learned. Hopefully this video has given you some information so that if you ever decide you're gonna do any type of development, whether it's an ADU or a DADU or middle housing in the United States, just make sure that the people that you have in your team, you like and trust, and they communicate well, because that will make the whole project move forward better. If you have any questions on developing out in Seattle, please reach out. Love to speak with you. And then if you have any experiences with using your architects in the very beginning, I'd like to hear what you've learned along the way as well. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.